let them know what we're up to, and then Rawls, maybe a quick introduction instead of everybody. That would be
Sure.
great before we kick it off.
Hey, Jonathan, Kirk Hansen with Chain Mountain. We have been working with your marketing team and the Randa marketing team and the other brands for a while now, looking at Shopify as an alternative to Salesforce and potential benefits around that, primarily around cutting costs. Um, and doing that in two ways. One, through the license agreements, but two, just in terms of kind of efficiencies and ease of operation and those kind of things that Shopify would enable. So long story short, here we are. We're starting the implementation. We are about to sign the contract with Shopify, hopefully tomorrow. And as part of that, Soft Tech is coming in to perform the implementation work. And I'll let Ader introduce himself and the team, but we are just beginning discovery. So really, we're looking at what do you do in Salesforce? What are your critical dates? And we know there are things like, for example, new photography for your products that you're working on, and new product photography rollout. So understanding when that happens and what your plans are and your new branding standards that you're working on and things like that will play into the overall plan for implementation. That's what we're trying to get at, I think, primarily today. Uh,
Okay.
Eder, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, in this case, we are the team that will continue with the implementation. So that's why it's important to know about Jonathan, about your commitments in Salesforce, the strategy that we will find, that we will follow according to this project.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Rawls. Okay, we'll pass it over to you. Thank you for joining. However
Yeah.
you want to take it from here. I don't know if you want to go through the brand standards first, or if you want to talk about photography, whatever you think.
Sure. I guess I'll start with an introduction.
Yes, that
Yeah.
first.
Hey, I'm Jonathan. I'm the other Jonathan. I don't know if y'all met Potter yet, but I'm Rawls, the other Jonathan. Yeah. So my team specifically oversees the digital side of business from a creative standpoint. So we handle a lot of the graphic design. We're heavily involved in photography and any sort of content creation. So yeah, so that's why I'm getting pulled into this conversation. But yeah, it's nice to meet y'all. I'm glad to be a part of this. Um, in terms of okay, so y'all have mentioned so I'm just getting pulled into this. I've heard questions about photography and brand standards. I guess what specific questions or how do y'all want me to talk about this?
Rawls, I'm wondering if we should, because you sent the brand standard guidelines over to Kirk, correct? I think that's,
I did.
so I'm
It's
wondering if we
not.
should go through that with the team. I don't know how long it is, but maybe we could touch on that and see if there's any questions first, and then we can talk about the new photography. Is it
Sure, I can do that. Let me. I
Yeah,
Kirk?
guess let me find the file. I don't have the
Okay,
file handy.
no worries.
Do y'all
Kirk, is
have
there?
any specific questions after you've looked through it?
Eder, do you have any? Do you or the team have any specific questions?
No, by this moment, no, Kirk. It could be good that we follow the guide of Jonathan, what he's going to show us, and after that, maybe the team will have questions.
And the third piece, I think Potter did send a note that you had selected a theme or had some new branding ideas. I don't know if you've been involved in that yet or
Uh,
not, Jonathan.
I am aware that the theme he picked is called Impact. Um, I have a link to it. I have a screenshot of what that looks like. That's the extent of my knowledge at
That's
the
the extent.
moment. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean that I think anything you can review like that in terms of, how you're thinking about it. Like I know there was talk about developing a new font to get off the monotype font, right? Any things that are changing, um, in terms of timing or content or approach or overall look and feel, I think will just be good background at this point for the implementation team so that we know at what point during the project to get you back involved, right?
Yeah.
And what
The
your critical dates are and those kinds of things.
the theme was just sent to us this morning from Potter. We honestly haven't had even a chance to review it as a team internally, Kirk.
Okay.
We can certainly circle back on that. The font, and Rawls, I think you sent us the font called Fig Tree, which I think we're all aligned to move to. And is that correct, Rawls?
So yeah, I would clarify and just say that the Fig Tree font for sure is going to be our transitional font to kind of cover us between when we step away from our Gotham license and before this new site launches. Um, we didn't necessarily do a full exhaustive research for the new site because, like you said, Tara, it was just sent this
Yeah.
morning, so this is the first time we've actually had eyes on it. I'm
Yes.
not 100% sure if we were planning to leverage the theme as it was and move forward with the fonts that are part of that, or if we were going to try to customize something. So I in my opinion, based off of what I know at this point, is I would probably say as we start to build, let's stick to the theme and the theme fonts because I would prefer us to do a little more of an exhaustive research of a font if we are going to choose a font, and I definitely want Potter to be a part of that conversation if it's going to be a long-term solution.
Okay. Yeah. And the goal is to move to that font, like you said, prior to the migration. So we've already talked to VML, our web developer, and opened a ticket on that. So once we land on for sure what we're doing, that would happen before the migration. So
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, let's circle back on the theme. I think Potter, Rawls, myself, Ryan, and the team need to like go through some of this internally. Potter's out this week, so I think we should start with the brand standards, if that's okay, and then maybe go into photography.
Sure. Great.
Sure, I'll share my screen. I have a document here. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we
Yep.
can
Yes.
see.
Okay, so
Even you share it on the Teams, and I have already asked for access.
yes. Let me dump it in the chat here too. One sec. Here we go. Bear with me.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Okay, there's this. Let's see if that goes through. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go through this somewhat quick because this really is kind of meant to just kind of give the basics of the brand. And I will clarify, this is an old document. This document was in place when I started 7-ish years ago. We have refined the brand slightly, but I wouldn't say that it is clearly articulated to a point that we can share to other teams. That aside, how this document is helpful is showing sort of how our brand can be used and obviously the space around the brand. Yeah, different color combinations, again, the spacing and the size, typography, which, we're changing, so that's to come. Our color system is in here. Honestly, from a color system standpoint, I would probably keep it pretty basic from a monochromatic navy and white with black. We do have some accent colors shown here outside of the accent blue. I probably wouldn't lean on the other colors too much, just because we have sort of kind of gone more minimal with our color usage over the last couple of years. Old photography, packaging, it's not going to be super helpful. Iconography, we do. If we need iconography, I can provide art files to our current icon set. That is helpful, so I would be your contact for that. And yeah, we're already at the end. Like I said, I kind of shot through that. Any questions?
Yes. Hello, Jonathan. Nice to meet you. I'm
Hey.
Hernan Hidalgo. I'm the UX consultant
Okay.
at Softex. And yes, I have a question about it because I already reviewed this document that you are showing us. And about the guidelines, I have a lot of questions because usually in UX UI, this guidelines document involves UI kit or design systems like buttons or components which we don't see on here on this version you are sharing us. I want to share very briefly an example. I'm gonna share my screen. This is an example from Banorte, that is a bank, and this is a web guidelines document. So we have, like you share with us, the typography, the colors, but we also have components like buttons and these web assets. So this usually involves as you may know, a team like UI designers, a Figma file that is previously worked together. Um, my question would be: are you expecting this kind of guidelines document for Hagar? And in this case, how would it be?
Yeah, so this came up, I believe, last week in a back and forth. I'm not sure who all was involved in that communications, but that is documentation that our team does not have. Tara, I know that you had shared a link to a Figma board.
Yeah,
Um,
we did. We decided to not use that Rawls because that was our site redesign that was done in 2022. So we spent the last day and a half going through the website live
okay.
with the teams and kind of talking through all the functionality, how the content slots work and all that fun stuff. So that's how we addressed, the Figma file.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a graphic person, but I wonder if Hernando, can you use the existing site for some of those standards, and then Jonathan, would that be appropriate, or do you know if they're changing, or is that driven by the theme?
Yes, we can. That's an alternative because we can use the actual site, the current site, and we can take some screenshots from the all the assets there, and we can work together into a new file guidelines document. So this could lay the foundation for the guidelines. So what else?
So I do want to say real quick, from a guide from a UI UX guideline standpoint, I would maybe consider leaning more heavily on the uh, the Spotify template that we choose and sort of the predefined guidelines that go along with that versus trying to rebuild it to match our current website. I think the current website can be used from a creative branding cues standpoint, but I wouldn't necessarily worry about rebuilding an existing template. I would maybe use that template as the base, and then we can iterate off of that if we feel like we need to.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think the site should be used as functionality too. Like we went through the functionality of the site to make sure we have all the things we talked about the other day, all the functionality, the product recs and the staging and all of that should transfer over.
All right. So as part of the of mapping out the current user experience, I'm gonna gather some findings and recommendations for creating this multi-brand user experience design. So what will be the workflow? I can reach out to you, Jonathan, for hand you these findings and recommendations and integrating them to this guidelines document. That could be the
Uh,
workflow, or I'm not
yeah,
understanding at all.
no, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. As again, from a documentation standpoint, we're not going to be as buttoned up as maybe some other organizations you've worked with. So, with that in mind, you're probably as you're developing, definitely make me a point of contact, specifically from a creative standpoint, if you have any questions, and we will make ourselves as available as possible to make sure we get answers to you all as quickly as possible.
All right. Tara, I have a question here. I'm not understanding that Softtech is it's not gonna create this asset, this guidelines brand book or manual. Is it's not from Softex, right? The visual. I want I so to speak. I want to say the final version of these guidelines, or is
The
it?
theme, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I understand what you're asking. I think what's going to happen is this. Next week, early next week, I'm going to set up a call with Jonathan Potter, Jonathan Rawls, and our team, and we're going to go through the themes and make sure that we landed on the correct theme because we just got the theme from Potter today, but we haven't had a chance to sit down and talk to him. Next, we're going to talk about the font, Rawls, the one that you sent over, and make sure that we're going to sign off on that as well. I think
Okay.
once those two things are signed off on, we can circle back with the soft tech team and Kirk and tell them what we chose, and we can work from there and make sure it goes into our the theme, the font, the functionality on the site today works into our brand standards. That's how I'm thinking about this. As far as you're asking about creating a template, a guidelines template, you're asking if we're going to do that or if you're going to do that. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I mean, I think we're going to start with the template that Shopify is offering us. That would be our template, right? And
Yes.
then we would just make notes off of that if there's anything more that we want to change or add, Rawls, correct?
All right.
Cor Correct. Unless we need to document something to move this forward, I would assume the level of documentation we currently have is what we have to provide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Great. And about this multi-brand seamless user experience, this seamless concept. Talking about this seamless concept, how similar are you expecting these sites to be? About the other sites in the future, and how these guidelines will impact those sites.
You're talking about phase two with the
Yeah.
rest of the websites with Totes and everybody else. I don't think we're there yet, Kirk, to have that
I
conversation.
No, probably not. I mean, the conversations we've had to date were more about unification from a systems, like a software stack
All right.
than from a user experience perspective. And we do know that, the one thing I've heard multiple times is that each brand wants to maintain its own brand identity,
Yeah.
right? So, so you can expect differences in the graphic design of each site.
Yeah.
I don't think we've even decided if that means, everyone uses the same theme or if there's different themes across. I would expect, from what I know, separate themes for each brand. Um, but if you're asking for the next level of detail, like is the checkout flow identical? I don't think we've gotten that far yet, to Tara's point.
All right. So we are 100% focused on Hagar right now, and the guidelines will be also
Yeah.
great.
Okay. Yeah, so we owe you guys a final theme and final font next week. I will set up something internally, like I said early, and we'll try to get that to you next week with the sign off, and then we can start there. Rawls, do you want to talk about the photography since we're reshooting everything? Because I know some of this is gonna like get done maybe prior to the migration, some may flow in after. Just the timing on that.
Sure. So we are in the process of reshooting everything on our site. So we're looking at about 8 weeks worth of shoots. At the moment, we are scheduled to shoot through June 20th. And obviously, we are processing along the way. I would anticipate another week, if not slightly more, after June 20th to finalize processing, which would put us towards the end of June. I have heard that we're targeting a site launch sometime in July, I
Yeah.
believe. Y'all correct me if I'm
Yes.
wrong. So that's what I understand at the moment. I'm actually curious from you guys, and maybe this is a question for our ecom team, which is when do y'all need those final assets available to have the time you need to get this loaded up into the new site?
Okay, so the new site is right now targeted to launch on July 21st. That's what we're targeting. Haley, I'm gonna pass it to you as far as images, but Rawls, you're saying that they're gonna come in like different rounds of images, not gonna all come at the end, right?
So
We're gonna
we are so we're processing as we go. So if you go to the marketing portal now, there's already a we're already updating our image library with these new assets. So technically we are going to have assets available to upload as soon as you're ready. We're already getting final assets from the first week of shoots. And so that folder will continue to build out as we go.
okay.
Um, we're just not scheduled to finish until around June 20th.
Okay.
Is that
So it's like the last round of shooting that we would get July 1st. How could we get that in the launch is what we're saying, basically.
Correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
that last week of shoot, we would need an extra week or so. So that would put us towards the end of June, uh,
Okay.
having those assets ready.
How does that, Haley, tell me the timing on that. Will that work?
I mean, I'm not sure what the process is in terms of uploading them into Shopify is.
yeah?
So I can't really answer that.
I
Yeah.
don't think we know yet. So I was going to ask, like, is the
Yeah.
approach to upload to CyberDuck? Are you replacing images in CyberDuck, and then it becomes an integration question? Um, is that what you're thinking, Haley and Jonathan, or
It would
is
be
this
the
going to
same
work
process that we
somewhere
do
else?
today, right, Haley?
Right, if we're utilizing CyberDuck. I didn't know if CyberDuck was specific to Salesforce. I thought it was a Salesforce server, but if it's able to be integrated into Shopify, then that would be ideal.
That's what I mean by we don't really know enough. So
No.
I was just trying to understand current plan. As you complete the photography, is that where you put the new assets in
Would
CyberDuck?
be
Is
in
that what you're
CyberDuck,
planning?
yes, and they would
Yeah.
replace those images.
So I think for the soft tech team, this is, a deployment particular in terms of how you're going to, move data effectively, right? And replace functionality. But I'll defer to you guys. And I don't think we need to answer it right now. I mean, it's
No,
it's an
no.
open question.
Hey, one quick note, Tara and Haley, is we are not we are not changing the specs or the naming convention. So, truth be told, if you need files to be a part, if you need files in order to build the site, we can use our existing files to build it. We would just be replacing those as we shoot.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to say in a much easier way to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant by more of an integration issue. Yeah.
Okay. So
So
these are going to be questions, obviously, with Shopify once we know more on
about
how this is going to work.
yeah,
These are all
the
the questions
approach.
we need to start listing for them as we continue to have conversations.
Yep, and I have it.
Okay. Um, what else, Rawls? Is there any other, is there fit guides and size charts changing too, or anything else that's changing, or is it really just the PDP for photography at this point?
So the last file I just shared to the chat here is that layout that Potter shared with us this morning. There is one difference between the Shopify site and our current site is sort of that bottom section that's kind of meant to mirror like Amazon A plus content. That's where the fit guide, F&B sort of information is meant to live. That is something we've had conversations about. We
Mhm.
don't we don't have a shoot scheduled to capture that content at the moment, but I imagine that's something that Potter's going to want to address prior to launch. So I don't have a solve for that at the moment, but that is something that we are
Yeah.
being asked to address prior to launch.
Okay, so that's the Syndigo, I think A plus page similar to Amazon that I thought was going to move into phase two because we don't have it today. But if
Okay.
Potter's asking us to do it prior to phase two and he wants it for phase one for migration, then we're definitely going to need to have conversation about that.
If Potter ever implied that there would be a phase two that would involve that content, I would absolutely love to jump on that extra time.
Okay. Yeah, I think we need to talk to Potter next week. I do think that's going to be phase two because right now phase one is a lift and shift.
Okay.
It's not new functionality. It's not, we're holding that for phase two, but we can definitely talk through that.
Sweet.
Yeah. Kirk, that's on the wish list for phase two right now.
Okay, great.
But yes, so Jonathan, I think hopefully we'll have more time on that. We just need to get the migration done.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Ryan, did I cut you off? Is there something that you wanted to say, Ryan, earlier? I feel like maybe I didn't know if you had
No,
anything.
no, this is definitely Jonathan Rawls and Potter's forte. I think, I think that we, get aligned on how they want the website to look stylistically. Um, I apologize. Was there any discussion about video? I know that we were gonna move to Vimeo. That was gonna be a change in creative or service on the
That's
site.
That's gonna wait too as well for stage two.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, because that's another ticket for VML. We're pausing work there. I don't think it's critical. Like it's on YouTube today. It works fine. I mean, I think it is something we
Yeah,
want to do in the future, but I
it's a
think
wish
we
list.
should
Yeah.
wait. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm good.
Okay. Um, is there anything else, Rawls, or anybody else have anything?
A quick note on video, Tara. I don't know if we've talked about this, but we are updating our video template, so we are reshooting all the video that goes with each style as well. It's going to be again same specs, similar duration, but it is going to be different video content.
Okay. On the PDP. Yeah.
Correct. Mhm.
Okay. So as we upload the images, we upload the videos, and hopefully that's just a lift and shift too as we continue to move over
Yeah.
and update the site.
One question for me is and again I'm getting I got kind of recently pulled in. If anyone has like a project calendar for what this is going to look like for the next couple of weeks, would someone be able to send that to me? I want to make sure I anticipate that there's going to be a time where we're going to be asked for creative content to fill out this site, and I just want to make sure that my team has enough of a heads up to jump on that when the time's appropriate.
The project calendar, we are working it with Arabella. Arabella is not here, but in general, the duration of this project is 3 months. But we are building a more specific calendar. So at the moment we finish it, we will share it with you, Jonathan, and run the team.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any soft tech team have any other questions? I mean, I know we're kind of at a standstill until we pick the theme and the fonts and send that back to you, but is there anything else that you have questions about?
No, but we have already discussed yesterday, Tara, about the Figma, right? The Figma file was an old one. So in
Yeah.
this case, we are gonna work with something new. Well, you are gonna update that Figma file. Is something that I want to understand.
No, we weren't going to update the Figma file. We were going to send you the themes of the site and the font, and then we were going to say to use the current functionality of the site. Do you need a Figma file of all the screenshots across the site? I wasn't planning on doing that, but if you, I mean, let us know what you need. Or is that something that your team can do? If that's, if you need that. It's really just basically screenshots of all the different pages across the site, if you need that.
Just in order to create these guidelines, I'm sorry if I'm being repetitive at this point, but just to create the guidelines document, maybe we could need Figma file and assets for that. But if we are gonna keep the assets as they are right now in the current site, we could probably work with the current site and screenshots. So I think that's the idea, right, Tara?
Do you need us to screenshot the current site, or are you guys going to do it?
We can do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that you're going to use the current site, you're going to use the new theme, and you're going to use the font, and it's all going to come together. And we just want to make sure we have the functionality we have today.
Great.
Let us know if you need help with something.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
The other one here in Softec team, do we have any other question or doubt?
No, not for me. Thanks.
Yep, not at the moment.
Okay, I think we are done by this moment, Tara, and
Great. I like
thank
it, no
you.
doubt. Thank you, team. Looks like we'll connect here in a little bit with the Radial team in a few minutes. So thanks, Jonathan, Rawls. Appreciate it. We'll circle back and we'll get a timeline calendar out.
Awesome. Sounds good. It's nice meeting everyone.
Nice to meet you. Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Thank you, Rawls.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.